Hey everyone, breaking news just dropped, and it's the moment so many of us have been waiting for. America's economic relief package has finally cleared its biggest hurdle. Yes, you heard that right. The stimulus bill that Bernie Sanders has been fighting tooth and nail for just passed through the Senate, and President Trump has already signaled he's ready to sign it into law immediately. But here's the twist: the mainstream media isn't shouting from the rooftops. These aren't your typical stimulus checks. They're being called *refund checks*, and they could be landing in your bank account as early as this month. So, what does this mean for you and your family? Who qualifies? How much could you be getting? Stick around because I'm about to break it all down, every detail you need to know about this historic bipartisan win. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty of these refund checks, please take a quick second to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a critical financial update like this one. Also, if you're pumped about the idea of a refund check hitting your account this March, smash that like button to let me know. Alright, let's get into what this bill really means for everyday Americans like you and me. Washington's political scene has been a mess of gridlock for years, but something incredible happened yesterday that almost no one saw coming. After months of intense negotiations and some serious high-stakes political drama, Senator Bernie Sanders' Economic Relief for American Families Act sailed through the Senate with a surprising 68-32 vote. That kind of bipartisan support is a rarity these days, and it's a loud signal of just how tough things have gotten economically for so many people across the country. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle finally had to step up and do something big. What makes this bill stand out is the wild alliance it's created: progressive Democrats, led by Sanders, teaming up with the Trump administration. These two groups almost never agree on anything, but they found common ground on one thing: Americans need direct cash relief, and they need it now. President Trump, who's built his brand as a fighter for the working class since his 2016 win, jumped on board fast, tweeting that this is a tremendous win for hard-working citizens who deserve their money back from Washington. So, what's actually in this bill? At its heart, it's all about putting cash straight into your pockets with what's officially called economic recovery refund payments. Here's where it gets interesting. These aren't being pitched as regular stimulus checks like we've seen before. The administration's framing them as *refunds*, implying this is money that belongs to taxpayers and is finally being handed back, not just some government giveaway. Analysts say this word choice isn't accidental. For Sanders, it's a nod to his longtime stance that working Americans deserve a bigger slice of the nation's wealth. For Trump, it fits his promise to give taxpayers their money back and juice up the economy through spending, not bloated government programs. Now, let's cut to the chase. How much could you be getting? The bill says eligible adults will score $1,200 each, plus an extra $500 per dependent. So, a family of four could see up to $3,400 coming their way. Sound familiar? It's a lot like the first COVID-19 stimulus checks from 2020, but there are some key differences in who qualifies, which I'll get into in a bit. You might be wondering, why now? A lot of folks thought the economy was supposed to be bouncing back by 2025, right? Well, the reality is, even though some numbers look better on paper, millions of Americans are still getting crushed. Inflation's been running wild, outpacing wage growth for way too long, and housing costs in tons of places are straight up unaffordable. Recent data also shows consumer spending's taken a nosedive, and this bill is Washington admitting loud and clear that families need a lifeline ASAP. So, who's eligible for these refund checks? The income cutoffs are pretty similar to past stimulus rounds. Individuals making up to $75,000 a year get the full $1,200, with the amount phasing out as you hit $99,000. For married couples filing jointly, you'll get the full payment if your income's up to $150,000, phasing out at $198,000. But here's a twist. Unlike earlier rounds, this bill has a work requirement. To get the cash, you had to report earned income on your last tax return. That was a big compromise to win over enough Republicans to push this through. Next big question: when's the money coming? Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen dropped some good news this morning. The IRS is already gearing up to send out the first wave of payments. Direct deposits could start hitting accounts as early as March 15th, with paper checks rolling out in the weeks after. If you've gotten government payments via direct deposit before, you're probably set to get this one the same way. No extra steps needed. But the bill's not just about these refund checks. There's more in there that could shake things up for families long term. For one, it temporarily boosts the child tax credit from $2,000 to $3,000 per kid, with an extra $600 for kids under 6. That's a huge win for Sanders and progressives, who've been pushing hard for more family support. Plus, there's $50 billion earmarked for infrastructure. Think broadband, roads, and water systems, focused on rural and underserved areas. That piece was key to locking in moderate senators from both parties whose states desperately need those upgrades. It's also a jobs creator, which sweetened the deal for a lot of lawmakers. Of course, not everyone's thrilled. Critics are worried about the price tag and what it means for the national debt. Supporters say the bill's got revenue boosts, like a temporary tax on corporate stock buybacks and tweaks to some corporate deductions, to cover the costs. But the Congressional Budget Office crunched the numbers and says those measures only offset about 60% of the total, leaving around $175 billion added to the deficit. That gap's got economists split. Some say pumping cash into people's hands will kickstart spending and grow the economy at a crucial time. Others argue we don't need more stimulus and that money'd be better spent on long-term stuff or paying down debt. What's wild is the political mashup this bill's created. Progressive Democrats and Trump Republicans high-fiving while fiscal conservatives from both sides grumble. Even Senator Mitch McConnell, who voted no, admitted extraordinary times sometimes demand extraordinary measures, hinting at how much pressure there was to act. Looking forward, this could signal where economic policy's headed. Some insiders think direct payments might become a regular thing, while others see this as a one-off fix for right now. Either way, how this plays out will shape what comes next. So, what should you do with the money when it hits? Financial pros say start with the basics. Catch up on rent, mortgage, utilities, whatever's urgent. If you're good there, maybe tackle high-interest debt. Or, if you're in a solid spot, stash it in an emergency fund or invest it smartly for the future. Oh, and good news, these payments won't mess with your taxes next year. Like past stimulus checks, they're not taxable income, so they won't shrink your refund or anything when you file in 2026. Both parties made sure that was locked in.